Hello? I don't know if you can see me. I can't see you. I don't even know if there's anybody out there. Maybe I'm talking to myself, but that's okay, no unusual. It's our Mirren. She said to me, 'cause I'm spending time in my wee sanctuary here, our Mirren says to me, Mammy, I know you're no sleeping, and I know you've got anxiety. What you should do is sit and just have a wee talk, have a wee blog or flog or some like that, she said anyway, and just talk it all out, get it all out of your system. Well, I said to her, how am I going to do that? Who am I talking to? She said, it's fine, it's easy, just talk. There'll be somebody listening. Will there? Well, I don't know. And how can I not see you, but you can see me? Because when we talked to her pal in Jersey the other day, but I could see her perfectly well. Anyway, I'm here in my wee sanctuary. This is where I come for a wee bit of peace and quiet and a wee bit. I have had, it's been a wee bit of a bad time, but we're all right. We're getting there. Our Maggie calls this my cubby hole. It's no under the stairs though, it's up the stairs. But I prefer sanctuary, you know, because, and the family know, they all know, even the Wayne, just to leave me for a wee bit of peace, for a wee while when I'm in here. Well, I suppose the first thing I should do really is introduce myself. Well, I'm Isa Brown, and I live in Glasgow, and it's a big 5 apartment flat, I suppose you could call it, and no far from Glasgow Green. I'm married to Tam, and we've got 8 Waynes, and the oldest is 30 and the youngest is 7. Now, our Miriam's told me that I've no to tell you and go on and on and on about my life story. Well, I'm not going to do that, because what would I do that for? Why would I tell a whole load of strangers about my life story on cyberspace or whatever this is called? Anyway, I better get on with it. What a year it's been. Oh, jeez, what with this pandemic virus. We're all lucky here. So far, I've got to say we're all lucky, because we're all following the guidelines. We're not going out. That's what's driving me mad. I tell you, it's driving me round the bend. 8 Waynes, and some of them are big Waynes, you know. Do you know what? There were less trouble when they were wee Waynes. You could stick them in a corner with a colouring book. No. You've got the boys fighting over the fitbin on the telly. You've got the lassies wanting to see the soaps, and our Daphne never lifts her head off her fashion magazines, and oh, it drives me round the twist. So I come up here to my wee sanctuary. They've all moved back in, all the big Waynes. We're all in here together now. We're in what's called a bubble, I believe. A bubble. It's more like the circus big top, I tell you, with the antics of that lot. I'm run ragged, so am. And I'll tell you something else. I'm glad that Christmas and New Year are over. Well, we just all settled down right, and then Tam says to me, we better bring Grandpa in. We can't leave him in his own, Isa. No our Christmas, no in his own, just a wee old man in his own. Aye, that's fine, no bother. I said, of course Grandpa can come, you know, we'll put you up or somewhere in the wherever. Aye, Grandpa didn't come in his own though, did he? Oh no. He brought his 5 chickens. Without a word of a lie, I'm talking 5 chickens. Well, for a week, they've clopped and pooed around my kitchen. I've had enough of them. I'm trying to walk round about them. They're pecking my slippers and they're terrorising the cat. So Ken, come Christmas Eve, I said to her, Tam, you need to tell your father, Tam, that either they chickens go or he goes. Oh, guys, he says, you know that wee wheedly voice that men get when they're wanting something. How can we throw an old man out in the snow on Christmas Eve? He'll perish. No, he'll know. I was determined to stand my ground. It's no snowing, and he's got a perfectly good house with a chicken run. Tam, I said, they can't stay here. They're messing in my kitchen. It's no right. They're no hygienic. It's like living in Little House in the Prairie here. There'll be a coup coming in next. Exaggeration. And the health and safety man will be throwing us out. And anyway, I've got a dumpling to make. It's Christmas Eve. Well, embarrassingly, I didn't hear Grandpa coming into the kitchen, and he heard my words. He says, I'll go, Isa Hen, if that's what you're wanting, though I'm no sure I'll get a bus at 2 o'clock in the after 2, you know, because it's Christmas Eve and all that. And I've lent my big basket to Jokey Hughes for his pigeons. I've got nothing to take the chickens back in. I felt quite guilty then. I said, Grandpa, I'm not asking you to go. Just the chickens. He looked all surprised then. He says, but Isa, big hectares for the pot, the Mora. Remember we talked about it. Christmas dinner. Oh. Actually, I forgot he said that. Then a horrible thought struck me. Wait a minute. You're no going to be ringing that bird's neck in front of the wain, are you? No. I'm no having that. Then our Tam pipes up. Look, Isa, the bird's for eating. Nobody will see anything. Me and Paul will build a wee coop out in the backyard. We'll take the chickens down there. We'll do the deed with Hector, quietly and humanely. He'll no feel a thing, I promise. We'll take the chickens out with us now, and you can get on with your dumpling. Well, I wasn't sure about Hector, who was a lassie, by the way. I mean, Dwayne wanted them to call her Hector. I didn't like the thought of her being put down in pain. But Paul was right. A living mouse to feed. Nobody in work because of the virus. Needs must. So off they went, a bottle of whiskey tucked under their arm. Was that to anaesthetise the chicken, I wondered? Or was it to give themselves courage to do the deed? Well, anyway, an hour later, I looks out the kitchen window to see how they're getting on, because it wasn't be long till it would be dark and the rain was coming down. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Two wee drunk men stottering about, trying to put together a chicken run with cardboard. Of all things, cardboard, which they'd obviously taken for folks' blue recycling bins, because there'd been a lot of deliveries, you know, in the week up to Christmas. The rain was pelting down. They couldn't hold the cardboard upright. They couldn't even hold themselves upright. They're trying to hold it all together with sellotape. Sellotape. The chickens were flapping about. The wind was flapping about. The rain was coming down. They didn't even think to put a cover over the top. What happened? Well, the next second, my heart nearly stopped. Because just as Hector, the leader of the clan, decided she was going to investigate the world, spread her wings, flapped up, and out she went, knocking Grandpa spun it off in her haste, followed by a wee quartet. But what caused my panic? What caused my heart to stop was the sight of the Wayne racing across the yard, screaming for Hector. Nae coat, only the wee sandals that she wears in the house on her feet. Crying and screaming as her favourite chicken disappeared round the side of the tenement. Well, I can tell you, I was out that flat, down these stairs and out onto that road within seconds. Seconds. I came out onto the pavement to see the birds in flight going up the London road, the Wayne running like a wee minx behind them. Almost hysterical she was, trying to catch them, but of course they were too high for her. Close behind her was Tam, too sozzled to keep a straight line, bouncing off the walls 1 minute, nearly on the road the next. 10 yards behind him, Grandpa couldn't even kid on he was running. I think he'd forgotten what he was doing out in the London road. Well, I ran as fast as I could in my sloppy slippers that I was struggling to keep on my feet. And London's a busy thoroughfare. There's motors and cars and taxis all flashing up and down. And there's my wee Wayne racing like crazy after the birds, still screaming for Hector. I needed to catch her. I knew I had to catch her before the birds decided they were going to flap to the other side of the road, because she would have just run blindly out. Then Grandpa, in his 3 sheets to the wind state, he tripped, and as he fell in a sort of slow motion. I saw his teeth shooting out his mouth and into the gutter, probably doing this either, because it wouldn't have been the first time. Well, I wasn't for stopping. I jumped over his outstretched legs. I lost one of my slippers, but I didn't stop. I hurtled on, shouting in the rain, "Lizzie, stop! Lizzie, stop!" But she was only interested in catching that bloody Hector. Oh, please God, I prayed, please Hector, stay on this side of the road. There was Tam, losing pace, probably black and blue from his bashes against the wall. And I thought, you'll be made black and blue when I'm finished for you, you drunken wee bauchel. Then, out of the close, shoots wee Lily McGiggin, shoving her shopping trolley, thinking she's in a marathon. Out she goes, her trolley handles catches in the belt of my penny, and I nearly fall her tit. But I managed to steady myself. I heaved myself up again, wondering why I felt like I was dragging a plough. As I'm moaning along there, with heavy weight behind me, I hears wee Lily shouting, "Isa, you're away with my shopping trolley." I didn't care. I just needed to stop my way and hurling herself into the traffic. Tam was now resting with his hands on his knees, puffing and panting just as I caught up with him. Just at the same time as Hector decided, aye, she would cross the road with her wee gang behind her. Just at the same time as the number 21st bus was rumbling up behind us, and just as my wee Lizzie, screaming, "No, Hector, come back, oh please come back." She was hysterical, all crossing the road safely, forgotten. I was panic-stricken, I don't mind to tell you, I was. My life was just flashing in front of my eyes. There was horns beeping, tyres skidding on the wet road. Somebody screamed. There was a flash, a blur, and then silence. The screaming went on. I realised it was me, on my knees, hands in front of my eyes. You know, I was terrified to move, to look. I just couldn't look up. My way. Then a hand touched my shoulder, and I looked up into Tam's drawn, tear-streaked face. Then I saw in his arms, tight and secure, was her wee Lizzie. I couldn't speak. I could hardly breathe. I'll never be able to describe my emotions just then. And I heard the bus driver say to Tam, "You all right, mate? Close thing that, but my God, man, you were fast." And to Lizzie, "You better get home for Santa coming." Then he was gone. The traffic noise returned to normal. Tam set Lizzie down. Oh, and I hugged her. I hugged her like I'd never let her go. Tam just looked shattered. He moved away to light a cigarette, and just at that, a wee old woman puffed up to us and said, "Can I have my shopping trolley back now, Isa?" Oh, we think Hector and her merry band probably made their way to Glasgow Green. Tam said they might come back, or they might no. I was just glad that Hector didn't finish up in her dinner plates, because I don't think I could have ate her. The grandpa, he went out on Christmas morning and came back with a set of teeth that he thought might be his. I beg to differ. When he opened his mouth, he looked like a constipated horse, you know. Couldn't he talk? He said he'd ask Bobby, the wee street cleaner, next time he saw him, because apparently Bobby collects all the fallen teeth outside the pubs, you know, usually after a Friday or a Saturday night when all the drunks come out. And then he takes them into the tavern, where they put them on display on a table in the corner. And then the folk, they come and they reclaim their fallen dentures. But all the pubs are shut now, so I don't know what's going to happen with the teeth. They'll have a wee collection, you know, by the time they open up again. You couldn't make it up, could you? It could only happen in Glasgow. Oh, you know, but it was a lovely Christmas day with all the family after the panic of the day before. I mean, I had plenty of cold meat and corned beef, and I had spam tins in the cupboard, and plenty of vegetables. And I made the first of my two dumplings, one for Christmas Day and one for New Year's Day. Your Tom, he loves my dumplings. He said to me before Christmas, "Do you know what I love best about this time of the year, Isa?" Well, I said, "What? Having time with the family and that?" "Aye, that," he says, "but my favourite time is ratting my jaws around your delicious dumplings." Ah, he's a good man. He's a brave man. He's a proud man. Ah, he loves his whisky. He spends too much time in the bookies and the pubs. He's missing his trips to Firhill to see his team Partick Thistle play. But he loves his family. I was 17 when we got married. A wee innocent lassie. I know the first, and I'll know be the last, to be led astray by a cheeky, good-looking wee fella. But Tam, he never faltered. He squared his shoulders and he took on his responsibilities. And even though my parents and his parents said we were too young, we made the best of it. We were too young. Ah, yeah, that reminds me of a song Auntie Bella used to sing. Oh, I can remember it. They try to tell us we're too young to really be in love. They say that love's a word we've only heard, and can't begin to know the meaning of. And yet we're not too young to know that love will last as years grow, and then one day they may recall we were not too young at all. Oh, the memories, eh? Oh, thanks for listening if you're listening. You know, we've all come a long way in our lives. We've had our ups and downs. We've had our joys and our sorrows, our triumphs and our failures, our heartaches and our happiness. And we're still coming through one of the worst experiences that most of us have ever known. But if we've got friends and family around us, and most of all, love, we'll come through it together. And you've really helped me by listening. Oh, now I'm sounding like the Queen. A happy new year to you all.